Hello, good morning, my lovely students. How are you all? I hope you are doing well. So, after part 1 and part 2 of chapter 1, crop production and management from class 8 science, here I have brought part 3, which is the summary of entire chapter along with the notes and also the introduction to the questions which can be asked, and they are so important for your exam point of view. So I hope you will enjoy part 3. So here we are starting with the revision of chapter 1, crop production and management. Let's summarize what all we have learned so far. So that will help you to prepare your own notes, and even if you have any questions or query, you can revert on this back. So first, what did we discuss in this chapter? First, I explained to you what is crop, and even I give you the difference of crop and the plant which is there at your home. So as you know, when the plants of the same kinds are grown and cultivated at one place on a larger scale, it is called the crop. And even if you remember, we discussed the two types of crop, kharif crop and rabi crop. So remember children, the question can be like, define crop and explain its type. So you can write the definition of crop and its type using examples. Even in exam, they can ask the question like, differentiate between kharif crop and rabi crop. So as you can write, kharif crop are sown in the rainy season and rabi crops are grown in the winter season. And the second point, you can write their examples. Now you remember we did all the basic practice of crop production. In there it was the preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure, fertilizers, irrigation, protecting from weeds, harvesting and storage. So they can ask an individual note on any of each practice, or they can specifically ask, write a note on irrigation and the types of irrigation, or they can write a note on harvesting, or they can write the ways of sowing. So here I'll just summarize all the techniques and all the procedures in this video. So first it was the preparation of soil. As you know, we discussed in preparation of soil, we need to do tilling or plowing. So the preparation of soil is the first step of our cultivation of crop for the fruit production. It is required mainly 3 steps, which were plowing, leveling and you are using here, that is the manuring. Even sometimes some farmers during plowing they add manure, so the soil from the beginning it is rich with the all nutrients and nourishment. So plowing, the process of loosening and turning soil is called the plowing, or it is called tilling. It is done with the help of plow, hoe or cultivator attached to the bullock. As we have discussed in first and the second slide, you already know how the cultivator look like. So what are the benefits of plowing? So here I will discuss some benefits, that what are the benefits that the preparation of soil requires. During preparation of soil we require plowing procedure. So plowing is actually that looses the soil so that the roots can penetrate easily. Soil is also able to hold more and more moisture, and by during plowing you can remove unwanted weeds. Also the leveling. So what is the importance of leveling? So the plow soil is quite loose, so it is liable to be carried away by strong winds or the washed away by the rainwater. Thus the plow soil is leveled by pressing it with the wooden or the iron leveler, so it can be prevented from the soil erosion. So second step is also very important, and the third step is manuring. So manuring means what? We add manure to the soil, and sometimes manure is added to the soil before plowing. As I discussed to you, sometimes we need to make sure that enough amount of nutrients are there. So the addition of manure to the soil before plowing helps in the proper mixing of manure with the soil, and it will also help us to give a proper quality of crops. Second step we had was sowing, and as we have discussed in our previous slide, that sowing is the process of scattering or putting seeds into the ground, which is also called the sowing. Before sowing, good quality of seeds are selected. So already we have done an activity on this. Even you can do one more activity on this, that what you can do is you can take some pulses at your home and you can soak them in the water. The pulses which get sink in that water, they are quite heavy and they are good quality of seeds. But the pulses which keep on floating in the water, they are hollow and might not be the good quality of seed. So by this way, the farmers segregate the good and the bad quality of seed and choose a proper quality of seed for the further crop production. So good quality of seeds are clean, they are healthy and free from any of the infections or the diseases. There are two methods of sowing seeds. One is sowing by the hand, we have seen in the picture in the previous slide, and another is the sowing with the seed drill. So sowing with the seed drill is considered better because the seeds are regular in the regular rows and it saves time and the labor. So by this way, with the manual help or with the help of machine or tool, we can perform the sowing. Now the third and important step comes is manure and fertilizer. This is very important question as per the exam point of view. You can ma'am can ask you differentiate about the manure and fertilizers. You will find the detailed answer in the shared notes, which is in the PDF form. So what exactly the manure and how they differ with the fertilizers. So manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of animal waste like cow dung, human waste and animal residues. You know that the villages, they are mainly dependent on the poultry things. They have so much of cows and buffaloes and bullock. So what they do is their animal excreta, they don't throw away, they convert that excreta into manure, because they are rich with the nitrogen and nitrogenous compound. So that cow dung or animal dung is used as a manure. So that is the first and very important key point. Then the manure can be prepared in the fields. Now you can prepare the manure by creating a compost and the big biogas plant. At the end of that you receive which is called compost, that also you can use as a manure. And manure provides a lot of organic matter like humus to the soil. Now humus is the uppermost black layer of the soil which is quite rich in the nutrients. So these are the three key points for the manure. Let's see how it differs with the fertilizers. A fertilizer is a salt, or you can say it is a chemical or organic compound. So it is with the, like suppose you need some potassium in your fertilizer, so your fertilizer will be rich only in the potassium. If you need a nitrogen in your soil, so you will buy a fertilizer which is just rich in the nitrogen. So these fertilizers are specific with the required amount of that nutrient. So they are prepared in the factories, or they are prepared using man task, that they use the chemicals and they use in the factories. A fertilizers does not provide any humus to the soil. So they are just specific with the nitrogen, potassium or sulfur. So they don't provide any other nourishment to the soil. So you can say that this way fertilizer and manure, they are having their own advantages as well as disadvantages. If I ask you one disadvantage of manure, it could be that manure are not nutrient specific. So sometime if your soil is deficient with the potassium only, your manure cannot ensure that it will give potassium, whereas you can add the fertilizer which is potassium specific. So that way, in that case, the fertilizers are quite more useful over the manures. But as fertilizers are made from the chemicals and the organic compounds, when they mix with the rainwater or some other source of water, they can pollute soil as well as water if they are overused. So both have their own respective advantages and disadvantages. Then irrigation. Yes, In the first and second slide we have discussed about the irrigation. In that we have discussed about the very modern ways of sprinkling water or irrigation. Here I will also discuss some traditional ways of irrigation which we used to do in the earlier time. They are no more in practice these days, as you know that every day new technology comes and we don't want to waste or we don't want to spend our time in the labor work, so they are been replaced these days. But let's discuss which were the earlier methods used for the irrigation. So first, you know that what is irrigation. So question can be like, what is irrigation, and explain its modern as well as traditional way of irrigation. So you can answer like all the crops and the plants need water for their growth, so the necessary supply of water to the crop plant in the field periodically is known as irrigation. So the irrigation requirement of crop depends upon the nature of the crop and the nature of the soil and that particular season. Now this I'll explain you with the suitable example. As you know that rice is a crop which requires maximum of water. Entire crop of rice gets submerged in the water. That quantity of water is required by the rice. So that is beneficial for the farmers if they grow those rice in the rainy season, so they get the enough amount of water. But as you know, there are sometimes not enough rain is there, or sometimes too much of rain is there. So in that condition we need to plan our irrigation with the help of traditional or the modern methods. So source of irrigations are river, canals. They form from the dams, wells, tube wells, dams, reservoir, ponds and the lakes. So from this kind of source they prepare, they provide the water to our crops. So the traditional methods of irrigations were moat or pulley system. Now what is pulley system? You might have seen the well. In that they used to have a pulley or a wheel which is attached with the rope. They used to stretch the rope or pull the rope, that at one end there was the bucket which can lift up or pull the water from the well, and that water they used to use for the irrigation. How tiresome that work is, but yes, in earlier time people used to use a moat or a pulley system. Then it's the rahat or a lever system. What exactly they used to do in rahat or a lever system? What they used to do, there was a huge wooden wheel, and surrounding the wheel there used to be a bucket. So when they used to rotate this wheel, the water from the bucket used to flow towards the field. So that way they used to irrigate their crops. Then they used to use a dhekli and the chain pump. So these are the again very traditional way of irrigation. In dhekli again there used to be like a matka, and from matka they used to provide water to the plant. And the chain pump, that was again it's like a series of pump through which they used to provide water. Now these traditional methods were tiresome and they were taking lot of time, so periodically they were replaced with the modern methods of irrigation, which are sprinkler system and the drip system. Now sprinkler system just like a fountain, you know, like they have a rotating fountain. In the first and second PPT I have explained with the figure that they are the sprinklers or the fountain. You might have visited the garden, and there you might have seen that in the gardens the sprinklers goes on rotating, and while rotating they shower the water in the field. So that way in the less amount of water more and more area can be covered. Now drip irrigation. Now drip irrigation system is what? They insert the pipes on the, they keep the pipes in the field, entire field, and in this pipe they make the holes, or they can they make something like they provide some space. So when water flows through this pipe, so this from this hole each and every plant or the root receive equal amount of water, and that's why it is called the drip irrigation system. So this question is very important, can be asked in 2 to 3 marks, that explain what is irrigation, what is the importance of irrigation, and by what ways we can perform the irrigation. Then removing the weeds, we have already discussed in our previous slides that what is weeding. Weeding or weeds, they are the unwanted plants, and this unwanted plants, the way we remove that process is called the weeding. So the best time for the removal of weed is before they produce flower or the seeds. So when they are in their initial state of growth, one should remove with the help of hand or with the help of tool. So the various methods of weeding are removal of weeds by pulling them out with the hand, or removal of weed by using a trowel. Destroying the weeds by spraying some chemicals, which is called the weedicides. So question can be asked like, what is weeding, which are the weedicide, and what is the use of weeding. Now harvesting and storage of food grains. So already we have discussed in our earlier slide that harvesting is done using threshers, that is just the removing husk particles from the seeds. So you can separate the seed and husk separately, and you can use the husk for the animal fodder. Now we will not throw anything here, because even the husk particles are quite nutritious. So that husk particle become the food for the animals or the cattle, and the seed that we get, they go for the further cleaning, and they are stored as the food granaries in the silos, and they goes to market yard. Now apart from that, this we discuss about the all methods of irrigation. Yes, we discuss all about the irrigation, but apart from all this techniques and apart from all this agriculture practices, we will also discuss about the animal husbandry. I have already explained about the animal husbandry in my previous slide, but let's summarize what is animal husbandry. As the name itself suggests, is that animal husbandry is taking care of animals and obtaining useful products from there. So you remember any products that we are using that is obtained from the animals during winters? What do we wear? We wear sweaters. So those sweater wool that has come from the animal like sheep, goat, and sometimes camel. So these animals are properly fed, sheared, and reared with the help of humans and the poultry agencies. There they feed the animal well, and then this animal give the good products which has been collected by the humans and sent for the further use, like a wool, sweaters, jackets, socks, etc. Then the other things are egg and meat. So chickens and the hens, they are properly sheared and grown, and they are taken care well, and once they are fed well, at the periodically they release egg, and then they are also used for obtaining meat. One more important animal product that is also having a medicinal use is honey. You know that the honey is the only natural substance that can last for 100 years. Yes, you heard for correct, that honey, if pure honey is there, they get not spoil till 100 years. So honeybee, they have honeybee farms, in that they grow honeybee, and then they collect the honey from that further goes for the further procedures like purification and packaging, and then it is available in the market for the human usages. And apart from all this, we also have animal husbandry in the field of fish. You already know that the coastal areas like Chennai, Goa, Porbandar in our India, Kerala, they all have their staple food rice and fish, because they are in the business with the fishing. So they do fishing, and they collect the fish, and then they are using as the commercial as well as their own personal use. So even that fish, you know what is where the fish is useful? As we might not be eating fish because we might be pure vegetarian, but people consider the fish oil to be the best omega-3 supplement in entire world. Even it is said that the grilled fish or a normal fish is easy to digest, and it gives you an abundant amount of minerals and nutrients. So for all this, seeing all this importance, even animal husbandry has its own importance. So these animals are properly grown, fed, taken care, and then products from them are obtained, and this entire procedure comes under the animal husbandry. I hope the summary is helpful to you, and now you will find the understanding of this chapter in a better sense. Now you can find all the question answers in my NCERT folder shared to you, and the question answers are given in detail. You can learn them by heart. So even I have discussed in the summary that what kind of questions could be asked in your examination. So this slide will enhance and your knowledge as well as your practical skills for the examination. All the best. See you for the next chapter.